it is an honor to be here tonight and humbling to follow you on stage. Thank you again for your remarks and your continued brilliance and intellectual activism, deconstructing and I think taking apart the shameful discourse in this country. Well, it is my honor to be back here in my home community in Madison, Wisconsin, and standing here today with so many different local community organizations, with an incredible opportunity for all of you here in the audience. If you think this is in our hands, very literally, these are our tanks, these are our planes, this is our money building these walls. But it is also in our hands to struggle for justice. It's in our hands to stand, I think, in wildly diverse solidarity, but also stand with local Palestinian organizations who are working for justice and working for change. And so we have people, I think, standing in our aisles right now. We have an incredible opportunity to announce to all of you tonight. And this is the Carol D. Chomsky Memorial Fund. And this is money that will go to basic relief, basic aid right now in rebuilding, in sustaining, in standing with activists, humanitarian workers, artists throughout the West Bank and Gaza who are courageously remaining, courageously rebuilding, courageously standing with dignity and with justice. And this fund, we ask you to really dig into your pockets tonight. This is not charity by any means. The Palestinian people don't need charity, they need justice. But this is a way that we can stand in solidarity. This is a way we can join hands. This is a way we can support people on the ground who are doing this work every single day. So I ask you now to really dig into your pockets, to take out your checkbooks. And remember, it's the Carol D. Chomsky Memorial Fund. Think of the cup of coffee you might have later, a drink you might have, and think of every single dollar making a huge, huge difference. And remember, again, this isn't enough. It also means that we have a dynamic struggle in our own country and a dynamic international struggle for justice and for dismantling and taking apart and ending the occupation. I want to really quickly say something. There was a young man in Balata refugee camp in Nablus who said to me, he said, it doesn't matter. We could scream, we could beg, we could plead, we could sing. It doesn't matter. One must have ears to hear. And I think all of us here have had the opportunity to hear, to listen. But I think we also need to see, and we also need to use our hands in every single way that we can to both stand with, to take apart, but to also give financially in the ways that we can to both ending this, but also standing with. So again, I ask you to go into your checkbooks, your pockets, to dig deep tonight. And knowing that every little bit you can give and every little bit you can give in standing for justice makes an enormous, enormous difference.
Thank you all very much. So please do give generously as the buckets are passing around in the audience. Well, now it's time for the question and answer portion of our program, and we'd like to invite Professor Chomsky back up to the microphone. We're going to invite Professor Chomsky back up to the microphone, and again, we'll line up in the aisles at the two microphones here, and we'll take turns, and I'll try as best as I can to direct traffic.
Thank you very much. So I assume there are two mics there.
Yes.
What, got one in each aisle? Got one start.
Thank you so much for your analysis. I think it is exactly what I saw when I was in the West Bank in 2006. And yet I find what you say rather discouraging. So what gives you hope that we actually will be able to turn this around? And what do you think we need to do?
Well, it's really very easy. It's one of the easier things to do. The reason is that the population of the United States is already on our side. I mean, a large majority of the population supports the international consensus. there's high-level support for it, like in the bipartisan commission that I mentioned. All that's necessary is to organize the already existing support into an activist movement, and there have been plenty of them in the past, and they've succeeded, which will cause a change in the rejectionist commitments of the Obama administration, which has no fundamental interest in sustaining the illegal criminal occupation, and can just withdraw support for it, like stop funding the criminal activities in the West Bank and in Gaza. The Gaza is pretty serious. I mean, go into a lot of it. But the siege, you know about the destruction in Gaza, but there's a lot more going on, which never gets reported. So, for example, in the year 2000, British Gas, British Petroleum Company, discovered a apparently pretty substantial natural gas field off in the territorial waters of Gaza. Well, of course, Israel wants to get its hands on it. And what's been happening since then, according to local activists, this includes the people who are involved in the Free Gaza Committee, the ones sending ships in to try to break the blockade. Israel has been driving fishermen out of Gazan territorial waters closer and closer to shore. Now, there's no official statement to that effect, and they don't warn them. They just start shooting at them with the gunboats, and they get closer and closer to the shore. Now, you can't fish near the shore in Gaza because the destruction of the power and sewage systems has made the pollution so intense that you just can't fish anywhere near shore. So it's wiping out the Gazan fishing industry and also laying claim, Israel's claim to take over Gazan energy resources, which apparently could be pretty substantial and could play a significant role in developing the country. Israel right now, according to if you read the petroleum journals, the industry journals, is sending delegations to make a deal with British Gas to have the gas that's discovered and off the water sent to Israel. Well, those are things we don't have to tolerate any more than we have to tolerate anything else that's going on. And I don't think it's a hard problem to deal with. There are much harder problems. Say global warming or ending the U.S. occupation of Afghanistan and bombing of Pakistan. Those are really harder problems because there you're running into fundamental state interests.